Okay, just put those there. So Hoops is about a little shouty man who recruits front-bottom singer Brian Sella to play on his high school basketball team. If you pay attention to the things people say about adult cartoons, you might have noticed the immediate negative backlash the show got, and it earned it. I saw an interview where the creators talked about being explicit without being offensive, and they were explicit. And they weren't offensive, but they weren't funny. A man says fuck a lot is not my favorite kind of joke. The show didn't really do it for me at all. I'm sure there's a dozen shouty, I hated this show and here's why rant Sona videos out there if you're interested. I can't be bothered to dissect exactly what I disliked about it, so I'm gonna leave it there, but I'd be surprised if Netflix gave it a second season. But stranger things have happened. Speaking of shows about men saying fuck, F is for Family is about a family in the 1970s in the US, about a husband, wife, their 3 children, their friends and neighbors. They navigate things like answering machines and cocaine. I like this one a lot. I like Sue and Rosie, and when they get plot lines, they really carry them, and they're some of the most engaging ones on the show. I thought the recent season with the plot about Frank's father was really well done. The biggest turnoff for me is the gross out humor. Pogo eats cottage cheese in my nightmares. I also made the mistake of reading the Rotten Tomatoes audience reviews, and I found out there are people who agree with Frank on everything, which, to be honest, kind of soured me on the show a little bit. I mean, I know there are things that they put in the show as jokes that are meant to be funny, but it's also like, this is such a deeply sad show. It's not the kind of show I'll rewatch or put on in the background, but I'll watch new seasons as they come out. And I'll watch them once. Tuca and Birdie makes me want to be friends with more women. I love the way the characters interact with typically non-diegetic things. The way they introduce deeper subjects, it doesn't feel shoehorned in or like they just want cheap sympathy points. I love this lesbian bird couple.
Did you girls want me to order pizza?
Get the fuck out, Mom!
Girl things!
I love Tuca and Birdie. I'm so glad it's getting a second season with Adult Swim. They deserve it. You don't need me to tell you that BoJack Horseman is a good show. There we go. I may be the only person who thinks about Pacific Heat regularly. I think everybody should watch at least just the first minute of the first episode. It is so fucking ugly. And it's like an obvious Archer ripoff, right? But it seems like it was written by somebody who doesn't know why people like Archer. It's like that Roger Ebert quote about Battlefield Earth. I've only watched a couple minutes of this show altogether. I have spent more time thinking about it than I have actually spent watching the show. Like, Netflix probably paid money for this. It looks like something you'd put on DeviantArt when you're 13. And I can't be the only person who's watched any of it. Please. Please watch it. Paradise PD. It's gross out humor. It's stuff about balls. I thought about watching more than one episode so I could talk about it here, but Jack Saint has already suffered for us, and I will not sacrifice myself when he is already on the pyre. So watch his video about it if you want to hear it. I couldn't watch more than a couple minutes of this show. I just, I'm trying to take care of myself and my soul and my heart. I don't know if it's because I tried to watch Pacific Heat and Paradise PD before this one, but Crossing Swords, pleasantly surprised me. I'm a lot more forgiving of gross stuff because it honestly looks pretty cool in stop motion. I never watched Robot Chicken. As a kid, I didn't have TV and I wasn't, allowed to watch Adult Swim stuff. And I'm not a teenager anymore, so I don't really have any interest in it. So I don't know, maybe all of their stuff is like this. But I thought the jokes were thought out and well written, and I do like fantasy settings that don't really make sense, and that might sound sarcastic, but it's not an insult. I genuinely do like them. I prefer them to the Tolkien-inspired lists of family names that we've accepted is how fantasy should be now. I liked Solar Opposites too. I know that's not how you make a popular YouTube video saying that you like stuff, but this one's neat. It's nice for when you want to watch an absurd or abrasive show without thinking about the heartbreak of divorce or pickle. I love fish out of water alien stories. This one's got a lot of fun elements. I think I saw an article that said Solar Opposites. It said something like, it's like Rick and Morty, but with empathy or with humanity. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description, because that is a great way to talk about it. The nihilism of Rick and Morty is suffocating sometimes. It's really nice to have a show that has that same sort of sense of humor, that Justin Roiland touch, without, Yeah. There's also this B-plot about the tiny people who are captured by the alien boy and live in the wall. It's so good. The show could just be about the tiny people living in the walls, and I would watch it. There's a fucking car going by. I would make all of my friends watch it. Actually, it's kind of, when I go to rewatch the show, I either want to just see the alien shenanigans.
You want to trash your school with sci-fi stuff?
Fuck yeah.
Or the story of the tiny people in the wall.
For the wall.
For the wall!
It feels kind of weird to say, like, you wrote your B-plot too well, but I guess I am kind of giving it a knock for that. The one thing about the show that really doesn't work for me is that there's these two characters, and the joke, like the one joke about them, is that they're school administrators, and they're, like, really horny, and who is this funny to? Like, you can make funny sex jokes, but the whole joke is just that these two people want to fuck. Have you never, unfortunately, seen two couples, like, sending each other the tears emoji in Instagram comments? It loses. The novelty wears off very quickly.
Do you want
to get cancelled?
Because that's how you get
Cancelled.
Disenchantment is a great case in how the 20-minute TV episode has been whittled to just complete perfection in terms of narrative structure and timing, and how giving writers an extra 10 minutes just fucks it all up. The jokes have so much time to just dick around, and the plot gets distracted over and over, and it's just kind of a mess. I fell asleep a couple times watching this show and didn't feel like I missed out on anything, which is not a great sign. It really kind of feels like this show has a strong female lead because that's what you're supposed to do in 2020. I know they try to give Tia Beanie a little more personality by making her drink a lot. And I never watch Matt Groening shows because I want... Groening? I don't care. I never watch these shows because I want deep character development. It's just for the haha joke funny. And I don't know. This one wasn't for me. That doesn't mean it was bad. I don't know. Can you tell it's getting really late? I always get less sure of myself the later it gets. Agretsuko was the only anime I watched for this video. You can't make me watch more. I like the animals. I really like Sanrio characters. I like the fun, relatable adult situations they get themselves into. I really like the cultural things I don't understand because I'm a dumb American. Like, what is he getting from that vending machine? I have no clue what that is. I love that. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Not a huge fan of the just try your best and you'll succeed in capitalism. Don't complain about your shitty boss. The system isn't the problem. You just need to change your mindset. Like that sort of message. Fortunately, I can just turn off that sort of critical thinking and watch the cute little friends move around on the screen, and that's fine, and I'm fine with that. Do you have any thoughts about these streaming service exclusive cartoons? Maybe you should think about something else.